now we try to date, and these girls are way more interested in a career, in a job, than a family. And like, I feel like I'm the feminine one, because I'm like, hey, what about the kids? What about the family? Like, you know, don't we want to do this? And she's like, I need to study. I have goals. I have career. I have purpose. It's like, it's totally flipped.
What would you prefer, being a career woman or being a stay-at-home mom?
I don't want to be a mom, so a career woman.
Really?
Yeah.
How
Why Are
come?
you surprised?
Isn't the whole point of life having a family?
To procreate? Nah. I just don't want to be pregnant, respectfully. Everything about it sounds awful.
What about your mother?
I love my mother.
You
What
wish
about
she
her?
didn't do it?
Just because my mom did it doesn't mean I have to do it.
Don't you have to return the favor?
No.
How come?
If you were a woman, would you get pregnant just because your mom had you and got pregnant?
I would just do it because that's what I have to do.
I want to speak to the women out there. You tell me if you think this is fair. I'm 40 years old. I married this woman when I was 33. After only knowing her 7 months. And no, I ain't get no prenup or none of that. But she didn't have nothing. Me, I had a $1.5 million house in Hoover, Alabama. Me, I had the Mercedes in the driveway. I went to law school. I was the one up studying all them late nights. Didn't even know who this woman was back then. Right? Now, you mean to tell me it took me 40 years to make all this, and this person who I've only known for 7 years, won't have of everything it took me 40 years to make? Now, I want to ask all the women, do you think that's fair? Think of me as if I was your daddy, or if I was your brother, and you saw me studying all them nights. That was me at Emory all them nights studying. I didn't even know this woman. Now she won't half of what it took me 40 years to make.
So today, we've got this very difficult situation where the vast majority of women in the Western world think that they're playing by rules that existed 50 or 100 years ago. They don't seem to realize that what they're bringing to the relationship doesn't have the same value that it used to. Yet men, in terms of their commitment, because it's a legally binding contract, must provide the structures of the same value that they brought before. So now, as a man, I am paying for a Bentley and I am getting a Hyundai. And the woman is bringing in very little in the way of a transaction. And she gets this lottery ticket that guarantees that she's going to be financially well off for the rest of her life, or at least be able to assume some compensation for whatever it is that she thinks she's performed for an extended period of time, I guess depending on the length of the marriage. So is it any wonder that lots of young men do not want to get married? I mean, if I was a young guy, I would certainly not be wanting to jump into that situation because there's no advantage in it for me whatsoever. I know that a lot of people, men included, like the idea of having kids and a family and a legacy, etc. Well, you know, there are ways around that too. You don't necessarily need to have a relationship, at least an intimate relationship with a woman. You can hire a surrogate. From what I understand, in many countries, especially in Eastern Europe, women will carry a child for you.
Hello fam, how are you all doing? I hope you all are doing good. Men are saying they don't want to be married anymore to women. They are tired. They've given numerous reasons to us why they're better off alone. They don't want to have any sort of relationship business with women. Do you think men can survive being alone? We all know that women thrive better being single than being married, and men are better off being married than staying single. So these modern men that are saying that they don't want to be married anymore, do you think they can survive it? Anyways, this is not the focus of the video today. The title is Why Men Are Not Interested in Getting Married Anymore. So I'm going to start off this video by playing a YouTube video that sparked this reaction for me. Afterwards, I'll move on to the TikTok videos to hear what men have to say, their reasons for not wanting to be married anymore. Let's get started.
You see it everywhere now. Men in their 30s, 40s, even 50s, successful, established, everything going for them, and they're walking away from marriage like it's radioactive. Not because they can't find partners, not because they're broken, but because they've done the math. And the math is terrifying. 56% divorce rate. That's the number they throw at you, but that's the polite number. The one that lets everyone sleep at night. The real number When you count the couples who stay together for the kids, for the mortgage, for the health insurance, for the simple fact that starting over at 50 feels like death, that number hits 70, maybe 75%. 3 out of 4 marriages are either dead or dying, and men are finally waking up to what that means. You want to know why men don't want to get married anymore? Because they're not stupid. They see their friends getting destroyed in family court. They see their fathers working until they die to pay for families they're not allowed to see. They see the game, and they're choosing not to play. Not because they hate women, not because they can't commit, but because the risk-to-reward ratio is so catastrophically bad that only a fool would sign that contract without thinking twice. Here's the paradox that should terrify you. 86% of divorced people remarry within 5 years. 86%. Think about that. These people just went through emotional hell, financial destruction, watched their children get torn between 2 homes, and what do? They line up to do it again, like abuse victims returning to their abuser, like gamblers who just lost everything running back to the casino with their last paycheck. And they all say the same thing. This time it's different. The most expensive lie in human history. This time it's different. But it's not different. It's the same game with a different player, the same contract with a different signature, the same delusion with a different face. And men are starting to realize that maybe the problem isn't finding the right person. Maybe the problem is the game itself. The psychology behind this is fascinating and disturbing. We're biologically programmed to pair bond. Society conditions us from birth that marriage equals success, that bachelor equals failure. Your mother asks when you're getting married. Your friends post their wedding photos like they've won the Olympics. Every movie ends with a wedding like it's the finish line instead of the starting gun. And so we keep playing, keep losing, keep playing again like rats hitting the lever for cocaine until they die. But men are starting to break the programming. They're looking at marriage not through the lens of romance, but through the lens of contract law. And when you examine marriage as a contract, when you strip away the flowers and the music and the promises of forever, what you're left with is the worst business deal any man could possibly sign. You're essentially betting half your assets and your future income that your feelings, and more importantly her feelings, will never change. In what other area of life?
The man was obviously blaming the marriage game. To a lot of men, relationship is a game. He was obviously blaming the government, the system, and the women. I don't think he ever blamed men for failed marriages, for reasons why marriages are no longer working. Men should learn how to take accountability. I'm not in any way exonerating women from their wrongdoings. No one is perfect. God, the good, the bad, and the ugly in all genders. You get what I mean? So I think it would make sense for some men to be truthful and say it the way it is. Men should learn to take time out and reflect. Listen to the women they have in their lives. Ask them the necessary questions. What am I doing wrong? How am I hurting you? How am I not being supportive? What more can I do to assist? A lot of men don't think that way. They don't even think that them doing that is necessary because of how they view marriage, because of what marriage means to them, because of their mentality. A lot of them believe in making money and buying love. It's all about using that money to buy love. Let's keep listening.
Would you make that bet? Let's talk about something that makes everyone uncomfortable. Money and relationships. The immediate reaction is to scream about gold diggers, about women who only want resources, about the corruption of pure love by filthy economics. But that's childish thinking. Every relationship is an exchange of value, every single one, and pretending otherwise is how you end up broke and bitter. Look at the obvious example. Older wealthy man with a younger beautiful woman. Everyone points and whispers gold digger like they've discovered some scandal. But what they're missing is the honesty of that exchange. He brings resources, stability, experience. She brings youth, beauty, energy. Both parties know exactly what they're trading. There's more honesty in that arrangement than in most love marriages, where people pretend money doesn't matter while secretly keeping score. The problem isn't the exchange. The problem is the delusion. The problem is when that older man thinks she loves him for his personality, when he thinks his money isn't a factor, when he believes the performance instead of recognizing the transaction. At least prostitution is honest. You know what you're buying and what you're selling. But marriage pretends to be about love while being fundamentally about resources, and that disconnect is where men get destroyed. Because here's what women understand that men don't. Love is both emotional and economic. It always has been. Throughout history, marriage was primarily an economic institution. Love marriages are a modern invention, barely 100 years old. And we're seeing now that maybe our ancestors weren't stupid. Maybe they understood that when you mix feelings with finances, when you pretend economics don't matter in romance, you create a system where someone's getting...
He spoke about the old man bringing money, the resources, and the woman bringing youthfulness, beauty, and energy. A lot of men are very superficial. He went on to talk about how women acknowledge the emotional and the economic aspect of marriage, but men only focus on the economic aspect. And I tell you, this is something we are struggling with. Men are very transactional. It's all about them using their money to buy love. They provide for you. They don't think about the running of that marriage. They don't think about the depth of that marriage. If you want a marriage to work, it's beyond someone looking sexy and you having sex. It's beyond you going to work, bringing money, and that woman looking good and fresh for you to find her attractive and sex her. His explanation says it all. A lot of men think so superficial when it comes to marriage. It's all about the sex for them. How do you sustain this marriage? This marriage has human beings involved, which means emotions will also be involved. How do you cater for the emotions of the people involved? How do you make things work? This is where the load is being heaped on the woman that understands that aspect of it. When it comes to the emotional aspect, a lot of men check out, and the woman is left to cater for that aspect alone.
Played. And in modern marriage, that someone is usually the man with resources. Women aren't gold diggers for considering resources. They're rational. They're strategic. They understand that feelings fade, but bills don't. They understand that love doesn't pay for children's education or medical emergencies. They understand what men are only now beginning to grasp. Marriage is an economic contract dressed up as a romantic comedy. And if you sign that contract thinking it's about love, you're the mark in someone else's con game. A prenup. The word that kills romance faster than admitting you have herpes. But let's be clear about what a prenup actually is. It's not planning for divorce. It's acknowledging reality. Marriage is three things simultaneously: spiritual, social, and legal. The spiritual is between you and whatever you believe in. The social is the party and the recognition. But the legal, that's a binding contract with the state. And most people sign it without reading the terms. You know what's in that contract you're signing? Neither do most grooms. They're standing there in their rented tuxedo, thinking about honeymoon sex, while signing a document that gives the government control over their financial future. The laws governing your marriage can change at any moment. Tax laws, alimony laws, custody laws. The contract you signed in 2010 isn't the same contract you're bound to in 2024. The government can rewrite the rules while you're playing the game, and you agreed to this. You signed up for this. A prenup is simply saying, we'll write our own rules instead of letting the state decide. It's taking control of your own future instead of leaving it to judges and lawyers who don't know you, don't care about you, and definitely don't love you. It's the most adult conversation two people can have, and most people are too childish to have it. The basic model is simple: yours, mine, and ours. What you bring in stays yours. What I bring in stays mine. What we build together, we share. Clear, clean, fair. But even this simple conversation is too much for most couples. They'd rather sign a blank check to the state than have an uncomfortable conversation about money. They'd rather risk everything than admit that their forever might have an expiration date. People resist prenups like they're being asked to plan their own funeral. It feels like admitting defeat before the game starts. It feels like betting against your own happiness. But that's emotional thinking, not logical thinking. You buy life insurance without planning to die. You wear a seatbelt without planning to crash. You save money without planning to be unemployed. A prenup is just another form of insurance, except this one protects you from something with a 75% failure rate. The resistance comes from the fantasy. The fantasy that your love is different, that your relationship is special, that statistics apply to other people, not to you. It's the same delusion that makes people think they'll win the lottery or that they're above average drivers. Everyone thinks they're the exception.
Let's see how some men reacted to what he said in the comment section. So let me get this straight. You sacrifice your youth, your love, your happiness for marriage, and in the end, you lose everything anyway. Someone explain how this is still considered the dream. Women don't respect your hobbies, especially if she considers your hobbies to be lazy or childish or stupid. She will find some reason to hate how you decide to chill and relax. Would any man purchase a ticket on a plane that will crash greater than 50% of the time? And if you survive the crash, you will be required to pay for the damage. Yeah. It's not that I don't want to get married. I want to, but I don't want to lose everything I own, in quotes. A woman looks upon her husband as like a robot, something to serve her. If her robot is sitting on the couch doing nothing except relaxing, she looks upon the robot as useless or malfunctioning. If I had this information when I was in my early 20s, I would not have married, lost my kids and everything else that is valuable that I worked for. Most marriages are retirement plan, scam for women. Smart men don't get married. Before feminism, it was called marriage. After feminism, it should be called financial contract. Before feminism, it was called marriage according to this person because women were the slaves. Women were used and didn't have voice to speak up. Women were swallowing all the BS men dished out to them, not speaking up. Men knew right. They knew fully well how badly they were treating those women. They were enjoying it. They didn't care. So feminism came, women now have voices. Men can't do what their forefathers did to their mothers in the past. So now it's a problem because women are speaking up and saying, I can't take that nonsense from you. Marriage is not just about you bringing the money. You need to also emotionally invest. You need to also cater for the other aspect of the marriage. Men don't want to do that. They just want to lazy around. This does not apply to all men. I've been dating like women do for the last 10 years. You're actually right. Men are financially asking themselves, what's in it for me? It's the first and the last thing on every woman's mind when it comes to dating. Bravo, gent. Men marry for love. Women marry for business. What does love mean to men? When men talk about love, they're looking for a woman that will serve them, that will take in their nonsense and not complain. That is what men talk about love. That is what love means to them. If they are broke, they expect you to accept them. Even if they are broke and lazy, you should make the sacrifices for them, not complain, not call them out, not address their BS. That is what they call love. Be docile, be submissive, and take the BS from them. It's not just the divorce rate and family court that scares me. It's the fact that a woman could just wake up one morning and decide I'm going to ruin his life, go to the police and lie, say I committed unspeakable acts against her, and then suddenly I'm being arrested and jailed for nothing. Even if I'm proven innocent, society will never forgive me because society doesn't care if you're innocent. They believe the woman and decide you're guilty with a sentence of death. Feminism, broken marriage. This is exactly what happened to me. She left with my mate of 21 years, charged me falsely with a family violence order, stole our life savings of gold and silver bullion. Over 4 years in family court, still going through it, and have been tortured with access to my kids ever since. I lost everything, my faith in mates, women, and the justice system. I will never get married again.
You will always be a utility to women. Men, as soon as you understand this, you can readjust your expectations towards not ever getting disappointed when you enter into a relationship with a woman. You enter with wide open eyes and you never give yourself fully to that woman, because the woman, in a covert way, in a pure survival level, is looking for utility in you. That's mainly what the attraction is about. If you look good and you've got good muscles and all these things, they're all sort of signs that you can provide utility. But once you get in the container of the relationship, if you're not perceived as a provider of utility, she will leave. It doesn't matter. So just know that, and then you can enter in with eyes wide open. And that's the bit of truth. Peace.
And this was such a great outing. I was a little leery about meeting up with you, but thank you for coming out for brunch. This was a great situation.
This was fun.
Yeah.
How we doing? Are we all ready for the check?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we together or separate?
It's gonna be separate. Yeah, separate.
Separate?
Yeah. I mean, I thought when we talked that you had the understanding of know what we was doing. We was just coming out to meet, and
you didn't give me no heads up about that though. Like,
I mean, I thought that you, I mean, I don't know what made you think I was supposed to be paying. Like,
You asked me to come and meet you for brunch today.
but it was a first meet and greet. So why would you think that I'm automatically paying just because I asked you
Because that's
to
what y'all
meet you?
do. Like, you gotta be joking, right?
I initially didn't even want to come here. You suggested.
I think I can give you guys a couple minutes, settle this out. I'll be
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. No, I mean, I hope you.
I'm not paying my way, boo. Okay, so I hope you got it to cover. Cause I'm about to go and call me an Uber.
Well, whoever's gonna pay for your Uber, they need to send some money to my Cash App to take care of this meal because I'm not.
Listen,
You got me messed up.
you got me all the way f***ed up.
Wow. Well,
Nice meeting you, buddy. Take care.
all right, bet.
The man that spoke about utility, was he talking about finances? I assume so. Men are the ones that call themselves providers, protectors. What they bring the most to the table is money. For those men that have money, we all know not all men have money. So for those men that want to be providers, that feel like they have the finances, it's hard to be in a good relationship with such people. A lot of women that are married to providers are just suffering and smiling. Do you know why I say so? It's because most providers are resentful. Most providers are not available emotionally in their relationship. Most of them think it is an obligation which they have to fulfill. This is what the society requires of them. A lot of them are not doing it from their heart. They are doing it just to please the society, please the people around them. So because of that, they are very resentful. They don't even like the women they have in their lives. They see them to be users, gold diggers, don't even value their children. They hate them because they feel like their wives, their children are using them. A lot of them complain all the time. Sometimes if you have conversation with those provider men at their workplaces, you would hear not so nice things that they say about their family. Some are not happy. So talking about a man being a provider and not wanting to fix the other aspects of the relationship. Relationship is hard work. It requires intentionality. You need to be present physically, emotionally, spiritually. Otherwise, you need to be there. But most men are not willing to put in that work. They recognize it is hard work, but they are not willing to make that effort. However, they want to reap from being in a relationship. They expect the relationship to be good. They expect themselves to get the good treatment in relationship, and they expect that woman to fix the relationship, to make it work. It takes two to tango. That's the truth. A woman alone cannot make a relationship to work. It requires both parties. And then for the clip that has to do with the date, personally for me, if someone invites me out, if that person is a man, I would expect you to pay. But I wouldn't show up not having my own money. That's me. If I invite you out as a friend, I'm happy to pay for you. But if we have this conversation of, oh, let's go out, you pay your bills, I pay my bills, that is us having an understanding. This is something we have discussed. But you not bringing it up and talking about it when the bills were brought makes no sense to me, honestly. If you invite a woman out, you should pay if that's the first date, except the both of you agreed on how to split the bills. That's just decency. This is what I think. It's okay for you to disagree with me in the comment section. I know this is one of the reasons why some men don't want to date, because they don't want to spend their money, they don't want to pay. They also want women to spend money on them. There's nothing wrong in wanting someone to spend money on you, but if you're asking why should a man pay all the time, why are we expecting a man to pay, go ask the system. The system made it so. The society made it so.
So today, we've got this very difficult situation where the vast majority of women in the Western world think that they're playing by rules that existed 50 or 100 years ago. They don't seem to realize that what they're bringing to the relationship doesn't have the same value that it used to. Yet men, in terms of their commitment, because it's a legally binding contract, must provide the structures of the same value that they brought before. So now, as a man, I am paying for a Bentley and I am getting a Hyundai. And the woman is bringing in very little in the way of a transaction. And she gets this lottery ticket that guarantees that she's going to be financially well off for the rest of her life, or at least be able to assume some compensation for whatever it is that she thinks she's performed for an extended period of time, I guess depending on the length of the marriage. So is it any wonder that lots of young men do not want to get married? I mean, if I was a young guy, I would certainly not be wanting to jump into that situation because there's no advantage in it for me whatsoever. I know that a lot of people, men included, like the idea of having kids and a family and a legacy, etc. Well, you know, there are ways around that too. You don't necessarily need to have a relationship, at least an intimate relationship with a woman. You can hire a surrogate. From what I understand, in many countries, especially in Eastern Europe, women will carry a child for you and they have no legal right to that child. It's under contract. So when that child is born, you become a father and you are a single dad. So that may be a way for men who really want to have families to be able to do that. And then, you know, then they've got the best of both worlds, you know. They've got the family without the threat of losing the family because of a dissatisfied spouse for some reason. So although men still have a strong desire for sex, and we certainly pursue it, we have a lot more options as to where we get it. So we don't necessarily have a limited market. You know, even a couple hundred years ago, 150 years, even back in the 1950s, you know, if you were going to meet a girl, it was probably a girl you knew, like from school or in your neighborhood. Now, you can meet a girl anywhere in the world, and there's a wide variety to choose from. So just from the availability of women to men today, and with the availability of easy travel to lots and lots of countries and on a moment's notice, I mean, we can travel anywhere in the world and we can access any number of women very, very quickly. So sex, the value of sex has dropped significantly. But no one has told Western women that this has happened because they seem to think that they still hold an upper hand in this. A long time ago, a wise man once said, "There's a sucker born every day." That quote, or that truism, is more true today than ever before, especially when it comes to men in relationships with women. Let me explain. In psychology, there is a basic understanding that most human relationships have a transactional nature. Now, I know there's a lot more going on there. There's a lot more complexity to human relationships than just this or that. But at its core, especially in romantic relationships, there's a very strong transactional nature occurring. In the past, that transaction was pretty straightforward. Men would trade security, resources, even a commitment in order to have access to a woman's intimacy, i.e. sex, and her ability to provide him with children. It was a pretty straightforward exchange. Her life was essentially going to be taken care of, and her job was essentially to run a household, have children, and provide some intimacy to the man. That was it. Today, the economy has changed a lot. We've been in what I would call an inflationary market. And as you know, in an inflationary market, just because the price goes up doesn't mean the value is increasing. So in today's market, things are much, much different. And there's lots of reasons why these things have changed. But we're still acting in many ways like we did as men a long time ago. And it's not working out to our advantage. The truth of the matter is the value of what men bring to the table these days still has a great deal of value. We still provide a great deal of resources, security, commitment, and that resource is always available to a woman that we're committed to. That's 24/7. However, what the woman is bringing to the table, intimacy, and is a big part of that, sex, well, the value of that has been diminished significantly. Yet, men and women in these transactions still act like that is the prize. And I think that that's not the case anymore. Legally, men are at a huge disadvantage in the event that for some reason the marriage doesn't work out. Men get their asses handed to them in court. Now, I realize that the statistics say that both men and women suffer in the event of a divorce, and even women even suffer more so in the long run as they get older because their ability to, I don't know, achieve additional resources is diminished at some point. But Yeah, it's a situation where a man in most states, no matter how much wealth he has coming into the marriage, and then how much wealth is created during the marriage, has all of that wealth at stake in the event that marriage ends, which doesn't make any sense to me at all. If I saved $1 million before I met my bride, and then 10 years later we split, I should be able to walk away at least with $1 million I walked into it with. But that's not the way it works in most states. In the past, that transaction was pretty straightforward. Men would trade security, resources, even a commitment in order to have access to a woman's intimacy.
All right, so we're doing this again, are we? The good old days where, according to men like this, men provided and women were grateful. Okay, so let's unpack this fairy tale, shall we? Because gratitude is not what happens when the alternative is starvation. That's not gratitude, that's coercive control. Because the arrangement that these men romanticize was never about men's benevolence, it's about men's ownership. A system of rule where men controlled all the money, the property, the banks, the entire legal system, the government, and who got to pick that government. And in exchange for all of this, women got to access their own survival. And these men openly acknowledge that this historical arrangement is the one they long for. A deal that's made with a gun on the table is not a deal freely made, it's a threat, it's captivity. Now here's where these men's argument completely collapses. They say that women have stopped being grateful, but women didn't become entitled, women became free. Free to own property, free to keep the wages they earned for themselves, and free to open a bank account without their husband's permission, and free to leave an abusive marriage without losing everything. And now that the coercive system they were raised in and expected to be part of no longer works, these men are angry and upset and know exactly who is to blame.
For the last 50 or 60 years, feminism and promoters of feminism have pushed women into the forefront of almost every part of our society. This has caused women to get a sense of entitlement.
Yeah, the captivity wasn't the problem, it's feminism for liberating women out of it. They're angry at the entitlement of women having control over their own lives, at no longer being forced to settle for an arrangement where respect is conditional and control is absolute. And that terrifies these men, who only know how to relate through dominance. Men who only understand marriage as a system by where they provide in order to rent out someone else's body. And rather than teach themselves and other men that this is an inherently disgusting, dehumanizing, and gross way to treat other people, they would rather, with their entire chest, get on the internet and offer a full-throated endorsement of this system, telling us all that if they had the choice, this is the life they would choose for half the population, where their survival depends on how grateful they are to be offering up their bodies. And we have normalized this insanity to the point where there are a whole bunch of these men making this content and insisting that until women learn their place, men like them are going to go their own way and refuse to date them. Oh no. Anyway, this should be the only argument necessary to advocate tearing this entire system down. But the other problem with this argument is it leaves men working against their own self-interest as well, which these men themselves also fully acknowledge, complaining these arrangements lack the affection and appreciation they desperately crave.
And you find an average woman who's extremely grateful and shows a lot of appreciation for what you bring to the table. Well, she can go from being a 5 or a 6 to being like an 8 or a 9.
You can't have a relationship that is both controlling and affectionate. If you want appreciation, then stop trying to resurrect a system built on coercion, on ensuring your relationship survives by making it a prison, one walled off with a high financial penalty that makes it incredibly difficult to escape from. The actual solution, the part these men do not want to hear, is that the true barrier to partnership, to real partnership, to the love, intimacy, companionship, and deep, meaningful connection that is absent from their lives is not women's entitlement. It's theirs. It's demanding obedience, control, and submission, but also respect and affection. It's treating food and shelter as giving you the right to a woman's labor and her body, and then expecting women to be falling over themselves with joy at making that bargain. It does not matter how much you long for the arrangements of the past. Loving relationships are not built on ownership. They're built on respect, companionship, and love. Women already got the memo. They have left survival marriages behind, and men like this are struggling to play catch up and adapt. The reality is that women's liberation did not kill marriages. It simply created room for marriages that are worth choosing with men who want partners, not hostages.
when men have more and more and more and more status, there should be a point at which it breaks, and then the more status doesn't lead to more women, and it never happens.
100%.
23 women want to sue this guy pretending to be Lionel Messi. Did you see this?
Yeah.
This one dude walks around looking like Lionel Messi, and he had sex with 23 women. These women who want to sue him knew full and well that he was married when they had sex with him. They knew Lionel Messi was married. So it's totally fine for them to have sex with a married man and to share that married man with his wife. But it's not okay that they had sex with a man who pretended to be Lionel Messi and wasn't actually Lionel Messi. It's like one of the craziest things that I've ever seen. These women were willing to have sex with a man who gave them no money, who did not give them children, who gave them no provisioning whatsoever. They slept with him for one reason, because his perceived status. That is the only reason. And he's short. It's the only reason that they slept with this dude. And then you see that, and then you look at all the studies from evolutionary psychologists, and you're like, oh, it is true.
100% of women are all subconsciously competing for the top 1% of popular men. Let me explain. If you think way back to when you were in high school or even college, right? The guys who were popular were typically the ones who got the attractive women, or the guys who were popular were typically the ones who had attractive girlfriends. Here's what I can tell you. If you understand that as you get older, the same rules apply in the real world, you'll understand that the game just changes and it gets bigger, which means you are now playing against every single guy on a grand scale. If you understand how to convey yourself as a man with high social value or high social status, you have a good network and you have a good friend group, you seem well connected, you seem as if people like you. If you convey yourself with that energy, some people call this aura, some people call this vibe, some people call this energy. What you have to portray to the world is that you are well liked. And the reason being is because women want popular men who have high social value. Notice, I am not saying rich, I am not saying tall, I am not saying good looking, because those things cannot make up for the internal high value traits that basically subconsciously signals to the world from that man of him saying, yes, I feel as if I am enough. If you radiate that energy, your aura is going to be very captivating and you're going to have an amazing dating life, but it starts from the inside out. One of the sayings that I always use is I say this, I say women don't view men from the outside in, women view men from the inside out, which means she's constantly testing, saying, what is this man made of? What is his story like? Where is he from? Why should I potentially be with him? If you convey yourself with the right energy, you will be rewarded in your dating life. Always expect women to attempt to sabotage a good relationship or try to ruin a good thing. Let me explain. Because of hypergamy, women subconsciously 24/7 are always looking to potentially replace you. She could have an amazing man, she could have an attractive man, she could have a guy with all the right boxes checked and everything perfect in life going for him. But some days she'll just wake up and naturally have the thoughts or feelings and say, you know what, if I pull away from him today, let's see what he does. You know what, if I just go start an argument randomly out of thin air, I want to see how he reacts. She sits there and goes, even though I really like him, even though I think about him, I'm just going to not text him for 2 days just to see how he reacts. What she is constantly doing 24/7 is attempting to replace you because hypergamy is very rarely satisfied and she is always screening the environment and her other potential options to actually see if you're the best that she can do. Now, despite how cold this truth is, it doesn't make it any less true.
Quite an interesting topic. It's always good to hear from men. Let's see how people are reacting in the comment section. They weren't providing us with resources. They were withholding them. Most women have also always worked. Only wealthy women didn't work. I don't know where they got the idea women never worked from. Men deciding not to date women that have already decided not to date them. Quite interesting, because a lot of women have decided to be single by choice. They are saying no to BS from men. If you're not going to bring your best foot forward, if you're not willing to bend over as much as I'm willing to bend over, I'm not interested. For some reason, this video helped me click about something I've always been confused about. Where if a wife would cheat and the husband would want to go and beat up the man she cheated with? I never got this. Why be angry at the other man? Why aren't you just heartbroken towards your wife? Ownership is why. They feel their wife is their property and the other man is taking her. It finally makes sense to me, but it's all the more gross. Yeah, to them, you're encouraged. The society has recognized her as my property. Everyone knows. You're a thief. You came to my property. You're stealing my property. So it does make sense for them to attack the other man. That's the thinking. My English teacher spoke about men not being able to catch up with the changes in women way back in 1991. I was a teenager and didn't quite understand. Now it's 2025 and men are still struggling to catch up. Entitlement to basic rights, the goal. Very well said. Thank you. They want a dog with baby skin and cooking skills. Did we listen to the man talk about how men provide the resources for intimacy and for a woman to bore them children? He never spoke about the partnership aspect. He never acknowledged the emotional aspect. It was all about transaction for them. That has always been the mindset. Women, we are the ones looking for that intimacy. I'm not talking about the sexual intimacy. I'm talking about emotional intimacy. We are the ones looking for it. A lot of men are not capable of that. When you talk about love, they're talking about submission. That's what they mean by their love. Submission, and do whatever they want you to do. Upon proper investigation of the hunter-gatherer model, it was unequivocally determined that it was women that hunted. Literally no clue what the men did. Sat alone and waited on women's labor somewhere, most likely as we currently experience. This is my mini great-grandma. She divorced her deadbeat husband, raised her 3 boys, and had successful newspapers in Arizona territory, all on her own. She made it clear in her memoir that she didn't need a man to be happy and successful. Yeah, let's talk about hypergamy. Many men are complaining that women don't want to date down, they want to date up, they want men that are highly placed. I'm pretty sure we heard the man explain how men viewed marriage in the past. I mean, the man that was in the woods with his dogs. Yeah. Men come with the resources. They don't care about the woman. They don't care about her emotions. Don't care about her mental health. They just want her body, and they want her to be fertile to keep their lineage going. So put yourself in a woman's shoe. Would you want to make all that sacrifice to a man that has no money to spend on you? A man that cannot take care of you. So it does make sense knowing that a man is not going to be your partner. A man is not going to regard you as a human, but just a tool. Doesn't it make sense for you to go for the highest bidder? So what are these men talking about? We still have a lot of men that reason like that man in our society. So when you have a woman going for the highest bidder, it makes sense to me. Aside those women that are after playing games, if a woman is not playing games and she's going for the highest bidder, how is that a problem? And let me say this, so many women believe that all men are the same. Men are not capable of loving, they lack emotional support, they can't even give it. So considering all this, why should a woman go for a broke man when she can go for a rich man? Even if she cannot get his emotional support, she can get the financial support. I think this is how our mothers in the past reasoned, and this is why they always wanted their children, their girl child, to be married to a man that is wealthy, a man that is capable of taking care of her financially. You can't be useless to a woman in every aspect. At least be useful with your finances. There are other little reasons why women go for men that are wealthy, men that are above them, but I'm not going to discuss that in this video. Another reason why men said they don't want to be married to women anymore, they're no longer interested in dating women, is that the rules are constantly shifting. The rules are unclear. They spoke about double standard. Women do things, it's okay, but when men do it, it's a problem. Let's have a look at these videos.
They say as a man, you should always get a high-paying job so that you can potentially take care of a family. But you should also make sure you have enough spare time to spend with your spouse so that they don't get lonely. If you're a father, you need to be there for and support your children. But don't try to guide them or structure them or especially discipline them in any way, or you're abusive. You're expected to be masculine in order to be attractive. But you should also get in touch with your sensitive side. But not enough to cry, because that makes you look weak. Women are allowed to hit you, but you should never hit them back. If you even want the chance of having a woman, be prepared to take her out to a fancy dinner in a fancy car and get her flowers and drinks and all of that. But don't expect or ask for anything in return, because then you're pushy. Remember, you have to dote on the girl in every possible way. But in the end, it's her decision as to whether or not all of your time and energy was worth her giving you anything in return. And if she leaves you after a 6-year-long relationship, remember, she's just doing what's best for her. But if you leave her after 6 years, you're a scumbag who obviously never cared. Make sure you're intelligent or women are going to look down on you. But women are always right, so they're going to look down on you anyway. Plus, if you're really smart, they're going to see you as arrogant. And be confident, because confidence is sexy. But don't be cocky. Sleep with too many women and you're just a man whore who's afraid of commitment. But don't sleep with enough women and you're less desirable because of your inexperience. Be independent, but do what you're told. Have high standards, but not high expectations. Accept women at their best and their worst, but change every negative aspect of yourself in order to prove your love. You're a man, you should have all the answers. But if you have all the answers, you're a narcissist.
9 double standards that men face that women don't. Women parent better. Men are just glorified babysitters. If a woman wants her man to lead, it's a preference. If a man wants his woman to submit, he's misogynistic. Female nurses are so nurturing. But male nurses, but you weren't smart enough to be a doctor? If a woman has a rotation, you go girl. If a man has one, he's a pig. Peter Pan. If a woman commits a crime, she goes to prison, but he goes to prison for 63% longer. She won't date under 6 feet, and he doesn't want to date overweight. What an asshole. Makeup is enhancing, but that beard is just covering up your lack of a chin. Women set a boundary, you go queen, but a man, you're controlling.
Insecure.
And lastly, my favorite. 6 figures, 6 feet, and 6-pack abs. But she can have 6 bodies, 6 guys in her DMs, and be 60 pounds overweight. Did I miss a few?
And yeah, the main thing is preferences in dating. Men are not allowed to have preferences. Men are not allowed to articulate those preferences. It's borderline illegal, it feels like, for a man to talk about his preferences and go around saying what he expects in a woman. No. You are not to expect anything from a woman, mister. Don't you understand that? She is the table, she is the prize, she is the queen. You will bow down and you will expect nothing.
The only thing men really need to learn is that you will never be able to make a woman happy. You just can't. If you last too long, then that's too much. But if you last too little, then that's too little. If you want too much intimacy, then you're being pushy. If you don't want intimacy at all, then you're cheating. You can remember to take out the trash, but she's going to remember that you didn't do the dishes. You can give her child support and you can give her over that and pay all of the in-between. And it's never enough, but when you pay nothing, then you're a deadbeat and she's still not happy. You could plan the perfect date, but if you didn't spend enough, then it's still not good enough. But if you don't plan a date, then you're a loser that puts in no effort. Women who don't have boobs want boobs. Women who don't have ass want ass. Women who have too much ass want a smaller ass. If you text too much, then you're basically a simp. But if you text too little, then you're a loser who doesn't care. You could buy her exactly what she wants, but if it's the wrong color, then it's still not exactly what she wants. You could give her all of the affirmation and all of the emotional support, but she's always going to remember the one time that you didn't. If you work too much, then you're not spending enough time with her. But then if you cut your hours and you're home with her more often, but you're making less money, then you're broke and you're basically a loser. If you watch too much football or have a hobby with the guys, then you're not invested in her. But if you don't have any hobbies or any other interests other than her, then you're a simp. Until you understand this as a man, that it's not your job or your responsibility to continuously make her happy and that you can't make her happy, your life will be a lot easier. Okay, bye.
You know what I find odd? How certain things in the world are only wrong when men do them. For example, if a 40-year-old woman likes men in their 20s, then she would be seen as a cougar, a MILF, she'd be seen as sexy, and it's praised. But if a 40-plus-year-old man likes women in their 20s, then she would be seen as a creep, a predator, and a groomer. It's only wrong when a man does it. Women can body shame men all day, every day, from their hairline to their height to their weight, all the way down to their penis size. But if a man mentions a woman's body in any way, shape, or form that's not positive, specifically weight, the entire world is in an uproar. It's only wrong when a man does it. A woman can set boundaries in a relationship and say, I do not like this. I have a problem when you do this. If you do not stop doing this, it is going to be an issue with me. And she's praised for standing up for herself. But if a man were to set those same exact boundaries and say, I don't like this. I have a problem when you do this. If you keep doing this, it's going to be an issue for me. He's seen as controlling or insecure. It's only wrong when a man does it. And this is the one I've been seeing the most. A woman can spend all the amount of time she wants with her friends. Y'all can go over each other's houses. Y'all can bring her over to your house. Y'all can go on road trips together. Y'all can plan trips out the country together. Y'all get your hair done, nails done, everything did. And men don't say a word when you with your friends. But let a man spend too much time with his friends that you're not comfortable with, and all of a sudden y'all think he's emotionally attached to his friends and basically call him gay. So let me get this straight. You all can plan a trip and go outside the country for a week and have a great time, spend every day together doing a whole bunch of activities, having girl time. But if I'm at this house an hour longer than you think I should be, you think I'm in love with this nigga? It's only wrong when a man does it.
What do you think about the double standard conversation? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I would love to look at them. They also complain that women's loyalty are not conditional and they are fickle. Let's have a look.
You left your husband because he went through a little financial struggle.
And did.
At any point in time, did you feel that love should have kept you there?
I feel like he didn't love me because if he did, he wouldn't have went through a financial struggle. A man that loves a woman don't go through hard time.
As soon as you fall, as soon as you go through a rough patch, as soon as you lose your job, she might ride with you for a little bit.
Not for long, though.
But not for long, guys. Your girl will immediately go into I have to find better mode.
It's like a panic mode for them.
It's a panic
they reach
mode.
out for the nearest branch that's better than what they currently have.
You can't think she thinks like we do. As a man, we're like, I'm not going to leave her. She was with me through this and that and thick and thin. We more loyal.
Mm-hmm.
Us men, we're more loyal than women. I mean, this is a given at this point, but she doesn't think like that. A woman will say he hasn't found a job in a month and, you know, he's been kind of stressed out. And instead of her saying maybe I should be there and maybe this is the time that I should support him the most so he can get back up, she goes, well, Brian's looking pretty good, you know, and they hold a hypergamous nature to just jump.
Brian just bought a car.
You struggle.
Brian, just look at Brian's new haircut. When's the last time you got a haircut?
You down right now. That's how they say.
Why do women give up or become distant with a guy when he struggles financially? I was married a few years back and everything was going really well. The relationship was awesome. And then I ended up losing my job. Money wasn't coming in as steadily as before. She was distancing herself from me. I took it very seriously as far as getting through the good times and the bad. And obviously she didn't. She left. Why do women give up or become distant with a guy when he struggles financially?
They were mostly complaining about women not being loyal, women's loyalty being conditional, being fickle. I have this question. Would you expect a woman to remain in a relationship where the man sees her as an appliance, as a tool for sexual gratification, and just a baby-making factory? Would you expect her to remain in that relationship the moment that man stops being a provider? The answer is no, because she remaining in that relationship is going to be a miserable decision for her. Honestly, she's going to remain in misery. Before, the money was the consolation prize. Even if she wasn't happy, even if she wasn't getting emotional support, the man wasn't being there for her only financially. At least she had money to console herself. So now the money is no longer there, no emotional support, nothing. And you still expect her to remain in that relationship. Come on, let's tell ourselves the truth. And this is what a lot of provider men fail to understand. You make the relationship to be transactional. The moment the deal is off, you've gone bankrupt. Why should she keep staying in the relationship? What is she going to gain? You said it is transactional. I'm paying you for your services. I'm paying you to be my sex toy. I'm paying you to bear children for me. Be there for my children. Run my home for me. The moment you don't have the money anymore, what is she staying back in the relationship for? If you want to have a partnership, if you want to have a woman that is going to be there for you, you should make yourself that person to her as well. You cannot be demanding for what you're not willing to give. Men need to understand this. Men are not blaming women for their inability to express themselves. If you're having a conversation with someone and you're trying to express yourself and the person is also trying to prove their own point, I don't think it's something for you to withdraw if you're an adult. You should also speak up. Sometimes you can have a partner that is very chatty, a partner that is very confrontational, a partner that always want to talk. Does that give you enough reason for you to internalize whatever you have and say, this woman is not allowing me express myself? For me, those are just excuses. And then for those men that always say the reason why they don't open up is because the women they opened up to in the past ended up using whatever they shared with them against them. People do that. People do that a lot. Yeah? Men, women do that. But Men should know this. Opening up, being vulnerable, speaking your truth, showing honesty does not exonerate you from your future mistakes, your future shortcomings. If you opened up to a woman and said, in the past, you were a thief, you do steal from people, and in the future, you start stealing from her, and then she talks about it and she makes reference to what you said in the past, you don't have any right to be upset at the fact that she made reference to what you said to her in the past because you have refused to change. You cannot be angry that someone is making reference to your past when currently you're refusing to change. You're still your old self. Men do this all the time. They complain and say that women are using what is shared with them as a reference point. The question is, what led to that? Did you do something that triggered that? Are you still your old self? Are you still a cheat? Are you still a liar? Are you still lazing around, refusing to pick up after yourself? Many men out there are filled with excuses. They don't like to be accountable. That's the truth. And they're so quick to blame women. Don't get me wrong, like I said, some women will use your past against you. Yeah, regardless of what the situation is. Those are not the people I'm talking about here. Men should learn to be more accountable. And then they feel like because they are vulnerable, women should fall on the floor and worship them. No. Women, we are always vulnerable. We talk, we express ourselves all the time. If you're deciding to withhold whatever you have inside, it's on you. It's your own cup of tea. You don't expect us to have a parade because you want to express yourself. You're looking for a special moment. If you have a lot bottled up, it's on you. Nobody's giving you special treatment because you did not give the woman a special treatment. Men often expect us to throw a big party because they are being vulnerable. I don't understand it.
A couple things. And I'm just gonna, ladies, give me grace. I don't feel like men are given that safe space in a relationship to be vulnerable and to be honest without being judged or without it being hijacked about how I made you feel about my honesty. And so what a lot of men learn to do through conditioning with dealing with women over time, even with their mothers, even with their family members, is learn to internalize this, because even if I have a legitimate gripe, I know when I tell you this, you may start to cry, you may start to flip it, and now I'm talking more about how you feel about what I said than what I actually said. And so we always talk about providing safe space for women, and that's a conversation, period, and stick that. But also for men, I think men are yelling and moving towards like, I want to be having a safe space too. Keita, what's up?
I have a rebuttal to that, and I wonder if our rebuttals match.
What's up?
My question to that is now, because you said that you feel like the conversation goes there, is that just what the conversation turns into, and that's how you solve a problem? Because you might say something, and then I respond, and that's how the conversation is going. Hey, I like the fact you opened up to me. I didn't like the way you said it. So can we talk like this, or can we do that?
So in a small example of what I was talking about is what happened just now. Right? Instead of realizing how I felt was legitimate and it was real and it was authentic and it's coming from a place of this is actually happening to me.
What happened?
You said, okay, but maybe it's not happening like this. Maybe it's happening like that.
I gave you a different perspective.
Hold on, let me finish though. I guess what I'm saying is it is that. What happens is most, and I'm generalizations, don't quote me, but most men on an average basis probably word for word cannot out argue you or out discuss you. So what end up happening is if you are more skillful with words, you're more skillful with twisting, semantics or whatever, you will take control of this conversation. And this man didn't even get out what he actually wanted to get out.
Yeah. And now y'all see what happened though.
You got one time for a man to open up and be vulnerable to you, and you fumble that, and he'll never do it again. Like, men are very, very, very sensitive, especially when it comes to, our vulnerabilities and things of that nature. So it takes a lot for us to even get to the point of being able to sit you down and express our vulnerabilities or maybe our shortcomings or, whatever it is that we're going through with you to begin with. Right. And a lot of times, women will kind of mishandle that. They'll judge you, or they may bring it up in an argument later to kind of, lash out at you or whatever the case may be. And I'm saying, like, the minute you do that, you might as well walk away from the relationship, because that man will never open up to you again like that. And now it's going to be a wall between y'all in terms of communication and things, because he's going to feel like, okay, I'm not sure I can tell her just anything, because who knows what she gonna do with it on the back end of it.
I feel like shorties don't really understand that. They be like, be vulnerable, open up to me. But they don't understand. They're not men. So I'm pretty sure y'all have made that mistake in the past. I definitely have. And every time I opened up to a woman, the dried up. She just don't want to fuck with me no more. The energy just changed. They act like they support it, but when you open up to them, they look at you like less of a man. That's my experience. Another thing.
Hey, what are you doing? I came out to check on you.
Huh?
What are you doing? Thought you were working.
I'm looking at this.
What is it?
It's wire. It's a spool of wire. And I'm almost out of it. Can you see the spool of wire?
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost out of it.
Okay.
And I've had this spool of wire for like 40 years. I bought it like this it's on a piece of a long time ago, but it's like 40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense? This is what's left. Does that make sense?
Sorry to hear that, and I'm sad for you, but you're wearing your Jets hat, and I'm a little concerned right now that you're wearing your Jets hat. I thought that's why you were crying.
Okay, I'm done.
Hey, what are you doing? I came out to check on you.
Huh?
What are you doing? Thought you were working.
I'm looking at this.
What is it?
It's wire. It's a spool of wire. And I'm almost out of it. Can you see the spool of wire?
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost out of it.
Okay.
And I've had this spool of wire for like 40 years. I bought it like this it's on a piece of a long time ago, but it's like 40 years of my life is in the wire that's gone. Does that make sense? This is what's left. Does that make sense?
Sorry to hear that, and I'm sad for you, but you're wearing your Jets hat, and I'm a little concerned right now that you're wearing your Jets hat. I thought that's why you were crying.
Okay, I'm done.
My guy just says one of the most poetic, insightful things he's probably ever said to anyone in his life. And she didn't hear a single word of it. Now, yes, men are very simple creatures. There's also a depth to most men that will never be explored by a lot of their ladies. And it's really hard for me to understand why. Like, why is it when a man takes an opportunity to be vulnerable with you and share his genuine thoughts, feelings, and emotions about something profound that he really cares about, why couldn't she just take that moment to actually listen for a change and build a deeper connection with her man? All the ladies out there talk about how they want you to talk to them and be open with them and communicate more with them. But what they're missing is that every time he's tried to do that, you have taught him why he shouldn't. If he is punished for being open and honest with you, you're teaching him to never be open and vulnerable and honest with you. So for any of the ladies watching this, please keep that in mind and take a second to really think next time you're presented with the opportunity to encourage him to be honest with you.
No, you don't tell your wife or your girlfriend your troubles.
That's some of the dumbest advice that I have ever heard in my life.
Is it though? Is it?
Talk to a counselor, a business coach. Do not share your down times with your woman.
I'm so sick of this mentality. I'm so sick of men telling other men to not be vulnerable with the person you're in love with. This is exactly why men have problems, mental problems.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but where did that come from? Why are men telling other men to not open up to their partner? What a weird thing to come up with. It's almost like so many women have used it against them. That instead of caring about him, she gets the ick because of it. Like, yeah, ideally, a man can open up to his wife or girlfriend. That would be best case scenario. But unfortunately, that's not the reality for a lot of men. Why are we blaming men for this? Again, it's always blaming the men. Why aren't we blaming the women that use this as a manipulation tactic, that hold it against him constantly, anytime he shows any weakness? But no, it's somehow men's fault that they feel unsafe in their relationships, that they feel like their relationship could fall apart if they bring these topics up. Or he loses respect for him. We all know that men value respect more than anything. So why would he take that risk? Women need to stop viewing men as opening up as a weakness, as something to get an ick for, or less masculine. We need to change the way we perceive that. Otherwise, things won't change.
Some men also said the reason why they don't want to date or even get married anymore is because of women's career. They spoke about how a woman's career and her independence affects the marriage or partnership. They said they've seen it in situations where a woman becomes financially free, she has a career, and then she places her career above every other thing and makes the partnership to be second. You know, men love women to center them. So when they're not getting that, they get upset. Let's have a look at this video.
I don't date career women, right? So I don't know, but career women for me are a red flag. And that's not to take anything away from what they do. Why is that? Because if you're a man who wants a future and a family, you can't get that with a career woman and it's a big risk. It's a big financial risk. And the reason why I say that is that if you are with someone now and she's a career woman and you make okay money, but she makes better money. Yeah. But she's always like, well, I'm going to work and I want to work and, you know, we've got plenty of money coming for me. That's fine. When a baby is put in her hands, her whole aspect, a whole like thing of life will change.
Never marry career or business women. Most of them are just trying to fill the void left by their father. They're doing this to prove that they don't need a man. Every single night of your life is going to look like that. So just don't do it.
Will a high-achieving woman struggle to balance her career and the relationship that she's always dreamt of?
If a woman always prioritizes her career, she's eventually going to have a hard time getting into a long-term serious commitment because all your focus is on work. Eventually, you're going to have to transition that into marriage, into having kids and being a mother. So you kind of have to balance it.
Ladies, it's only one or the other, not both.
What would you prefer, being a career woman or being a stay-at-home mom?
I don't want to be a mom, so a career woman.
Really?
Yeah.
How
Why
come?
Are you surprised?
Isn't the whole point of life having a family?
To procreate? No, I just don't want to be pregnant, respectfully. Everything about it sounds awful.
What about your mother?
I love my mother.
You
What
wish
about
she
her?
didn't do it?
Just because my mom did it doesn't mean I have to do it.
Don't you have to return the favor?
No.
How come?
If you were a woman, would you get pregnant just because your mom had you and got pregnant?
I would just do it because it's what I have to do.
But you don't.
You do?
Birth control's a thing.
But it's a man's duty to provide, and I understand that. I'm going to do it.
Okay, that's your prerogative. Good for you.
Would you disagree with that?
I don't agree or disagree. I think whatever you want to do, go for it. But just be a respectful human.
Now we try to date, and these girls are way more interested in a career, in a job, than a family. And like, I feel like I'm the feminine one because I'm like, hey, what about the kids? What about the family? Like, you know, don't we want to do this? And she's like, I need to study. I have goals. I have career. I have purpose. It's like, it's totally flipped.
Since you seem confused, let me tell you why that may be the case. She gets her education. She moves on in her career. She makes sure she has her own money because she's not going to bet on you because too many women have done that in the past and gotten burned for it. It's not enough that a man tells you that he wants to have kids. What kind of father do you plan to be? Because she could end up being a married single mom, taking care of the kids, and a man who acts like one. They've seen plenty of videos of men who weaponize their incompetence, fathers who don't know their child's eye color, teacher's name, birthday, if they have a peanut allergy. There's more to being a father than your genetic contribution. Do you plan to be up at 2 a.m. for these feedings? Are you changing diapers? Are you going to PTA meetings? Are you giving baths? Are you helping with homework? Women don't just want you to give them a baby. They want you to help them raise one. They don't want you to have a backup plan. They don't want you to have something you can fall back on in the event they leave you. They want you to have no choice but to stay with them. Otherwise, how will you survive? The single version of you would leave them in a second, the moment your needs weren't being met. He may be able to convince the mommy version of you to keep the family together despite him cheating or disrespecting you. But what about the child? That's why he wants the child. Some men want a child with you because that's a part of their strategy, not because they always dreamed of being a dad.
Please tell me, how is a woman's career, her independence, destroying her family, destroying her partnership? We all know the reason why many men don't want their wives to be financially independent is because of control. A woman that is financially independent is a threat to a lot of men because she strips them of that opportunity for them to control her, and they don't like that. Men love to be in charge. They love to dominate. A man having the money and being the provider creates that room for him to easily control that woman. Men love it when women are depending on them. They don't like it when the woman is not depending on them because that dependency creates room for control. So this explains why a lot of men don't like women that are career oriented, women that have their own thing working for them. I do understand that sometimes your career can get in the way and start competing with your family dynamics. You can always strike a balance. It should not always be the woman's job alone to strike a balance. The man and the woman should come together and agree on what is going to work for the both parties, individually and together. But men don't want to have that conversation. In their head, it's the woman's duty to stay home and take care of the home, not go out there and make money for herself. That is a very scary position to be in as a woman because a man is not to be trusted. A man should not be depended on. He can fail you tomorrow. Nothing lasts forever. Some people are lucky their marriages last forever. I mean, when I say forever, they stay till they left the world. Forget what I mean? But that's not the case for a lot of people. There is no guarantee in marriage. You should have your own money in your name. Have your own bank account. Make your own money yourself. Do not depend on anyone. If any man is feeding you 100%, that man owns you. He controls you. That's the bitter truth. So having your own money, financial freedom gives you your own voice, gives you your own security, gives you your own power. Please don't let any man talk you into leaving your job or your business to be a complete stay-at-home mom if that's not what you want to do. And if you decide to be a stay-at-home mom, if you're part of those women that love it, make sure that man is paying you and you have your own business that you're doing or your own work you're doing from home.
Don't let a woman place you under her thumb to the point where she dominates you. Because if she does, you become her slave and she becomes the master. And a woman isn't the greatest of masters.
That's not healthy for either person in the relationship.
Either person.
The entire relationship.
Women are not even attracted to that. Like as in women are not even attracted to a man who submits to them. Women like a man, whether they know it or not, or they say it or not, women like a man to take charge. Like there is research that shows a woman is more attracted to a man who's unclear about his feelings towards her, which means that every day it's not that you just, I love you, you're the best, you're this, you're that. No, definitely say those things, and the Prophet would say those things to his wife, but sparingly. It shouldn't be one that she never hears it from you. It should be one that every day you show her, you're God's greatest gift to me and I couldn't live without you. Because you know what? I wouldn't say a woman takes advantage of that necessarily. Could be, some do. But that's not very attractive to a woman.
One thing I hear from men is that after the marriage, after the kids, the women change.
Again, I never did buy she was an angel. and then one day she was a demon spawn. Mm-hmm. I don't buy that. Mm-hmm. It's there. They didn't test her. I tell men all the time, you have to test women. See if she's even this vindictive. Just the tiniest amount of vindictiveness early on tells you that vindictiveness will be multiplied by 1,000,000 down the road once the infatuation's over. Ask her or tell her no to something. If she wants to go see a movie, just say, no, I'm not into it tonight. And then you watch very carefully what she does. Does she get huffy about it? Can she handle a no? Can she handle a no to not spending money? Does she want something? I want a 3-carat diamond, whatever. Mm-hmm. No, that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. What does she behave like then? She'll tell you who she is. Mm-hmm. She'll show you. Is that the setup she wants? Because if that's what she wants and that's what you're providing, there's two problems. There's her and there's you. Mm-hmm. But I just don't buy these guys that say, oh, she perfect, just everything. And then we got married and all of a sudden she was a different person.
One thing I noticed too about just dealing with women in America too is just like they're so borderline domineering, trying to control everything when I'm with them. And I'm just like, yo, Like, are you trying to emasculate me? Like, are you aware of what you're doing? Like, do people
not?
Are people tolerate this? Like, I call them out. I'm like, maybe it's your first time. This is not working. Like, you need to know your place when you're talking to a guy like me.
Do you think they don't know though? Have they lost touch?
They have lost touch.
I don't think women understand how much power they have when it comes to men. Acting like a lady around us moves us. Women forget that the power they have over men is attraction and influence. Ladies, I'll never tell you not to be alpha or direct or whatever you want to call it, but there's a tone that men are directly tuned into that a woman can take, and she can just about get whatever she wants. There's a way that my wife can speak to me and my attention is only on her. Masculinity responds to femininity every single time. When a man is hit with the gravity of a woman's attraction, it turns on his provision and protection. You turn into something that is to be secured and sustained. Men crave feminine women. The touch and word of a woman can change his whole day. I'm not saying don't be independent, strong, and successful. Be that too, but a man needs that peace only a woman can bring.
One of the biggest lies that women were told is that men should like them for their strength and independence. The problem is that men and women like different things. Qualities like being strong and not needing anyone are traits that women find highly desirable because they want a man that's capable of providing and protecting. But since those are not traits that men look for in women, those are not deemed the most attractive traits in a woman. Rather, a woman's softness or her ability to be interdependent or united with her man is much more attractive to him. And this is a good thing, because if he required her to be strong and independent, then it would actually be a red flag indicating that he doesn't intend to be a provider and protector.
Men are complaining that women are no longer as soft as they used to be. Women are no longer in their feminine era. They are no longer operating from their feminine energy. I'm pretty sure we've watched some of the clip. Men talking about how men want women to be soft. They find women that are soft to be attractive. What does that tell you? As a woman, should you focus more on what men find attractive or more on what makes you happy, what makes you whole, what makes you an individual, what gives you peace of mind? Men think women being soft brings peace of mind to them. The reason why they want a woman that is soft, a woman that is feminine, the way they put it, is because it creates room for them to be masculine, the way they put it, and domineering. It creates room for them to dominate, control, take charge, be the authoritarian while the woman submits. So that thing they talk about, that trait, those traits they're looking for are those traits they call wife material traits. She's calm, she's naive, she looks homely, she's soft, she's submissive, she's agreeable. These are what they call softness. When a man says a woman is feminine, she's soft, this is what you're talking about. Being docile, being teachable, malleable, they can mold you into anything. This is what they're talking about. It's all about control. All about control. So tell me, would you rather a man find you attractive and control you, or you do you without a man finding you attractive and be happy? Let me know in the comment section. So many men are saying the reason why they don't want to get married is because they fear divorce. They believe that the legal system is backing women. The legal system is for women and is against men. They fear the legal system sharing their property with the woman. They feel like some women get married so they can inherit some part of a man's wealth. So because of this, a lot of men are worried. They fear divorce.
I want to speak to the women out there. You tell me if you think this is fair. I'm 40 years old. I married this woman when I was 33. After only knowing her 7 months. And no, I ain't getting no prenup or none of that. But she didn't have nothing. Me, I had a $1.5 million house in Hoover, Alabama. Me, I had the Mercedes in the driveway. I went to law school. I was the one up studying all them late nights. Didn't even know who this woman was back then, right? Now, you mean to tell me it took me 40 years to make all this, and this person who I've only known for 7 years, won't have of everything it took me 40 years to make? Now, I want to ask all the women, do you think that's fair? Think of me as if I was your daddy, or if I was your brother, and you saw me studying all them nights. That was me at Emory all them nights studying. I didn't even know this woman. Now she won't half of what it took me 40 years to make.
You don't have to crash out. All you got to do is accept the fact that I want a divorce, and that's it. I don't want to
give a divorce, and I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad about that. What I'm mad about is the fuck that you're ungrateful. What I'm mad about is the fact that nothing is ever good enough for you. What I'm mad about is the fact that you can't even accept the fact that you got a good ass, not none cheating ass.
I don't care about cheating.
Yeah,
I don't. That don't lie with finances.
You want the drama? That's what you want.
No, I don't.
You want drama, bro?
How about I don't want no.
Bro, you want drama?
Nah.
You want drama, bro? Thank you.
Nah.
You right this whole time. You want drama.
I don't want no drama. I'm that's gonna help me financially from beginning to end, not get comfortable throughout the time and then be like,
comfortable.
Because
you supposed to just turn around in 3 months.
And then he be like, well, I'm trying. I can't tell you I'm trying. You're gonna be like, what you mean you trying? You be at work every day. How the bills ain't paid? What you doing? You trying what?
Every day. If I'm going to work every day and I'm building a business on the side, how is it that I'm not doing shit? How is it that I'm too comfortable? If I'm still doing something for now and I'm still working on something for my future, how is that getting too comfortable when I'm doing 2 things at once?
He told me I need to do stuff on the side, make faster money, do this, do that, so that way I can subside with my job that I'm doing. But my job pays the bills. I can't go find a side hustle because then I'm gonna burn myself out. So I can't do both. You have more free time than me. The job you work is a come and go. You can pick your hours. I can't do that.
Okay, because that's what you chose. You chose that.
Yeah, because I need something consistent. I don't need something to tell me when I can get on and get off and then all it is. Like you have a cap. I don't have a cap. Okay, so how we gonna get this paid? How we gonna get it paid? How we gonna get it paid? On time. Exactly. I gotta figure this shit out. I gotta figure it out. I gotta figure it out. All along. Or 401k. No that.
And I'm not trying to figure it out, you wanna?
I don't got time to keep hearing you figure it out.
Take on all the responsibility, right? You wanted the only going through shit, right? You wanted the only one dealing with some shit, right? And this is exactly what the fuck I mean by you're selfish.
If I'm selfish, I'm selfish. Yup, 189 hours. It is what it is. It ain't nothing new. That's just what I gotta do.
Up here and cry and say,
go smoke because that's what you need. Go smoke. Yeah, go smoke. Yeah, because that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do.
I am smoking.
That's what he do anyway. Go smoke.
I am smoking.
Go smoke outside, please. Somebody come be with him. Just come get him.
Oh, now I'm a cherry cake.
That's not what I said.
Yeah, you would. You said somebody come get him, somebody come be with him. I'm a cherry cake. Like you just throw me around. Like
I don't pay. I don't know. I pay. Okay, so when I say I'm doing for my family, I'm talking about I'm paying all the bills. The $4,300 in bills that we gotta pay every month. Yes, the I am. I'm paying them bills. Why? Because I have no choice but to pay them bills. The money he make, that ain't gonna pay our bills. That's why I have to do what I have to do. Why he keeps saying I have money in savings. You're right, I do have money in savings, but that's for savings. That's not for spending. I have a spending account, an emergency account.
That's crazy, bro. So you want me to go in my savings and give you $10?
That's not what I said.
Your savings, that's the whole point I was trying to make when you asked me for the $10, dog.
No.
That was the whole point I was trying to make. Yes.
When I asked you for $10, to be honest, y'all, when I asked my husband for $10, I literally just be seeing if he gonna give it to me because he never offers to be like, hey, babe, here go $50 for your hair. Here go $10 for whatever. He never does that, right? So I'm like, babe, can I have $10? He was like, babe, I ain't even got it right now. I gotta go out and get it. And I'm like, oh. And that right there made me like, do you wanna?
But if I can go get it, why does it piss you off?
I don't want my nigga to go get it. I want you to have that shit and be like, here.
You sound goofy in the
No, I sound realistic. Cause
bitch, I don't sell dope.
You ain't gotta sell dope. I don't sell dope and I still got $10 to give. What you talking about?
I don't have what you mean. I got it to give, but I'm not going into my savings. The same point that you just made.
You don't have it to give?
Bro, the point that you just tried to make, bro, I'm not even know, bro.
You don't have it to give.
If I didn't have it right then and there, I still mess. Give me the fuck off camera.
I said, you didn't want to give it to me, but I ain't got no choice but to give you the money that I paid.
Because I already had plans for my little spending money before you asked me to
I don't give a fuck. I be having plans for money that I work every 2 weeks.
Okay, but at the same time, though, I still go out, nigga, and I can get this shit again. If I didn't have it that exact moment that you asked for, all right, babe, give me a couple hours.
This is my thing. I try to. I want my husband to be top notch, right? So when
it does take time, bro.
I'm tired. We've been together for 4 years. How long it take?
What you about? How the fuck you feel? Every time a situation occur, every time a situation occur, every time a situation occur, every time a situation occur. We going there. We going there. We going there. We going.
Like every situation I'm in, I always gotta pitch in more financially, and that's the draining part of being with somebody. When you have to finance everything, and when you get told something and it's the opposite, it's like I don't want to do this with nobody. Like what sticks with me out of all the things my husband ever told me, even after he called me a bitch, right? What sticks with me to this day is the fact that he told me when I was going to divorce him the first time that he was going to take me for alimony. Possible that you could take whatever I done already established from me. That don't sit well with me.
I can't get none of that shit. Come on, yeah, he crashing out. I'm crashing the out because every time I try to get some stabilized for me, I can't even do that because the always talking about you ain't doing this or you doing the bare minimum, you doing this. Man, I've been giving and giving and giving and giving and giving before you even started giving. I was giving. That's why I say you selfish because you only think about this time period now, but you ain't thinking about all the times, man. And always come through. Even when I ain't got it, I still find a way to make this shit happen. But because I ain't had it got $10, or I didn't give you $10 right then and there that made you feel some way. And because, I moved so feet to go answer your question to Marcos, you feel some type of way. Now you want a divorce.
Why not to get married to an American woman is because most American women are wired for divorce. Many of them come into your life just to divorce you. They are okay with going through a divorce. They are not willing to take any hit. Any little thing. I'm about to go to the car. I'm about to go to court and get a divorce with you right now, man. I ain't playing with you, boy. I don't want you no more. I'm going to check out this relationship. I do not want to go through that. Most American women live on fast food. Checkers, KFC, Popeye chicken, and, McDonald's. I do not want to go through having to buy food every day outside. This is one of the reasons why I would prefer to get married to an African woman, because African women, they have been trained to make food in the house. They have been trained to stay in relationships no matter what happens. It's very difficult for an African woman to get a divorce.
Some modern men are against modern women. They call them masculine. The reason why they call them masculine is because those women are fending for themselves. They are independent. So they don't like it. When you don't depend on a man, they tag you masculine. When you're out there hustling, going to work, footing your own bills, and not calling up a man to come pay your bills for you, they call it masculine. Do you know why? Because you make it difficult for them to control you. When you have your own money, you have zero tolerance for BS. Men understand that. They don't like it. It's just their own way of shaming women. They don't want women to fend for themselves. They don't want women to do things for themselves. Rather, they want us to depend on them to feed us, which means we depend on them to breathe. We give them that right to control us. It's all about control. The name of the game is control. So men don't like modern women because modern women have broken free from that shackle, from that chain. They don't like it. So they use the term masculine. She's too masculine, just to shame women.
A lot of women nowadays are just too masculine.
No, women aren't too masculine nowadays. The problem is that you associate success, strength, and independence with masculinity. And so the independence makes you uncomfortable. Here's my question. You want to complain about women being too independent when you've proven time and time again that we can't be dependent on you. He says later in the video that no man wants to battle a woman for dominance. But who's battling? We don't want control over you. We're just no longer willing to share control over ourselves. He says, don't let society trick you into believing that being soft, kind, nurturing, and allowing is a bad thing. And we know that being kind isn't a bad thing, but we also know that we're no longer obligated to be kind to you. So it's not a question of masculinity versus femininity. It's a shift from need to want. And that independence means that women no longer have to accept the bare minimum from you.
Her femininity requires comfort. You can't expect her to be soft with you when she doesn't feel safe with you. And heavy on the with you, because it's not that she's not a soft woman, but any woman is only going to show you the side of her that she knows you won't hurt. So if you want the side of her that's vulnerable, then be a man who's reliable. Or if you want the side of her that's receptive, then make sure you're a man who's respectful. And if you want the side of her that's emotionally open, then you gotta be a man who's mentally stable. But if you want the side of her that's detached, keep disappointing her and keep dismissing her feelings, because that's the perfect way to make sure she hides them from you. Like all of those little jokes you make at her expense, that's not light humor. Those are hazard lights, which is going to make her naturally pump her brakes on any effort you make to connect with her if your punchlines constantly punch holes in her self-esteem. Or if you notice she's starting to go quiet on you, it's likely because of your selective hearing. Like any woman is going to bite her tongue if it feels like sharing what's on her mind is just a waste of her breath. Or if you can't control your anger, she's not going to feel comfortable with you, because her femininity flourishes in the absence of fear, but it vanishes in the presence of it. Like no woman is going to feel warm if she constantly has to worry. So yes, she's going to go cold on you if every time she lets her guard down, she gets burned. Plain and simple, man. If you want that woman to be soft with you, just be solid with her. Focus less on demanding it and more on earning it. Then it'll come.
So many men these days are complaining about women having masculine energy. But in reality, y'all use her for everything she has and still expect her to be soft and feminine. No woman will feel comfortable settling into her feminine energy if she constantly feels uneasy around you. She deserves to feel safe. She yearns to feel trust. She wants to be loved. But if she's in survival mode and she has to do everything herself and you're not doing your part as a man, then you're never going to get the best version of her. She already has the weight of the world resting on her shoulders. And your job as a man is to take some of that weight off, not add to it. Help her out. You'll be appreciated for it. Don't be an idiot.
I finally realized if you make a woman think on her own and do everything herself, she's going to switch roles. Basically what that means, she is going to tap into her masculinity, right? She's going to tap it in because you are not doing your part as the man, not being indecisive, being dominant, right? Being stern, know what you want, things like that. If you can't tap into that on your side as the man, it's just going to switch over. It's going to switch over. Now she's going to be made feel like, okay, I have to get this done. I have to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm eating. I got to get this done. You're not doing your role. So you're basically switching places. So that means as the man, you will be tapping into your femininity and she will be tapping into her masculinity. You guys are switching places. This only happens in relationships when the man is not doing what he's supposed to be doing, right? It's not going to happen if he's leading, right? And leading is just being dominant, assertive, right? And not indecisive. You know what you want. You know where to go. You know what to do. If you're making her do those things.
Some crazy things are happening in this world. Tell me why a human being fending for themselves should be tagged being masculine. Did God say men are the only ones that are supposed to provide, that are supposed to pay bills, that are supposed to have work? So a woman doing what men are doing means she's masculine. Is she not supposed to fend for herself as a human being? So what the society is saying is that a woman has to depend on a man to feed for survival. A woman going out there hustling for herself to survive is her being masculine, is her being in survival mode. So that means all men are in survival mode. That's basically what people are saying. It's okay for men to be the ones to hustle, but it's not okay for women to do so. Ladies that are hearing me say this and thinking, oh, men, they wish well for us. No, they don't. They want you to depend on them so they can control you. The game is all about control. The moment you're out there fending for yourself, they have nothing on you. They have absolutely nothing on you. Men use money to buy love. So when they feed you, they expect you to do their bidding. It's okay as a human being to learn how to fend for yourself. You are a human being. You are an individual. Men are using that term masculine, whatever way they pronounce it, to shame women. They target independent women, call them masculine. Oh, you're exuding masculine energy. You're too masculine for me. What they mean is, I cannot control you. I cannot dominate you. Please, women, do you forget about what those men are saying? A man that understands what it is to be in partnership will do right by you. That's the truth. A man that is not all about controlling, that is not about dominating and controlling, will do right by you. We appreciate the fact that you have your own thing working for you. They will understand what partnership really means. Not you coming to be a leech on them, but you're bringing your own quota to the relationship. That's how it's supposed to be done. Let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. Don't forget to like if you like this video, subscribe, share with friends and loved ones, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.